Okay, we're back. Manga log time. You know how this goes. I don't know how to set my camera apparently. Um Couple things. One, if you're new here, you're probably not, but if you are, I do this ranking wise, worst to best, by series, not by volume. Two, how do I say this? Okay, so I made a video a while ago called Give Me Your Recommendations, and you guys did, and I bought them and I read most of them. Some of them I have not read, so that video will come out soon when I finish reading them. But, well, it's the end of the month, and it's not like I can, like, literally 95% of the log is the recommendations, so I'm going to be showing off a lot of them and talking about my thoughts. So, if you want to save my opinions for that video, you don't have to watch this video. Or if you literally just don't care, which is probably the thing, then I'm gonna have all these recommendations for you. So, but I'll mention when a recommendation comes up or not. So, also again, before we start this, but really we're starting it. I would like to say that, except for one exception, and that was Blackguard. I don't know where it is, but that was Blackguard. I have never gave a manga a lower score. Well, Blackguard and My Dress Up Darling. I've never given a manga a lower score than like a 3. Never. Except for some certain manga, but they're not in my collection anymore, so they don't count. I have never given a manga a score below 3. Except for today. Because today, my friend, someone very maliciously recommended me a little manga called Mysterious Girlfriend X. I know, or Mysterious Ex-Girlfriend. I don't know. Mysterious Girlfriend X. And I hear you wondering, well, what makes this so bad? Well, something that makes it so bad is, where is it? There it is, yes. I remember this scene. It's where he drinks his girlfriend's drool. That's why this manga is bad. I rated it a 0.5. And I will be keeping this manga in my collection. Thank you very much. That was also one of your guys' recommendations. I don't know what's wrong with you. Mysterious Girlfriend X is like, if you've ever read The Flowers of Evil, I had to remember the name. About to say Pretty Little Liars. I would have been fucked up in the head for weeks. The Flowers of Evil, if you guys have ever read that, it's basically that, but like so much worse. And like not good. Next we have a manhwa that was also recommended to me. A lot of these were recommended. The Tower of God. Now, this one is not nearly as bad. Actually, it's nowhere near as bad. But I wouldn't call it, amazing or anything. I do think that this story has a big disadvantage of just plopping the audience in the plot. Like, it kind of just feels like we're being put into the middle of the plot by the first page, And it is really weird just to, like, be stuck in this world that I feel like I'm supposed to have interest in, but I just don't. And there's a lot of terms and different things being like used around that no one really explains. And I get like, I don't want an overabundance of explanation, but at least like 1, 2, 3 lines would be like, okay, let me get you straight. This is how this stuff works. Would be perfectly fine. And it does try to do a lot of like indirect world building that just kind of doesn't work. Except for, if you can look right here, there's like, I don't know if you can see, there's a dark and light part of the volume, depending on where you are. When we get to that light part, it gets so much more fun. There's like this giant trial, and there's this battle royale, and we're seeing all these different characters that are enjoyable. It's a lot more interesting when we're here. This part, I did not care about. I didn't care about the main character. I didn't care about any other characters. It just wasn't interesting to me at all. Like, I would have rated it like a 4 out of 10 if it was just this part right here. This white part though, very enjoyable, I would say. Yeah, and also the art is bad. Like, the art is not good in this manhwa. Like, even looking at it now, it's so simplistic and just it's not good. I don't enjoy it. Next, we have a 3-volume manga that is finished. That was another recommendation. It was Crazy Food Truck Driver Volumes 1, 2, and 3. I already said this. This is really good. It's like really enjoyable. I don't have many cons for it, just for the fact that like it could always just be better. Like I enjoy it. Like, you know, there's nothing like crazy about it, but I wouldn't say it's anything amazing. I would say that a lot of the characters besides these two, I don't know if you can see it, these two right here, are not interesting or memorable, like in the slightest. Like, I literally couldn't tell you. I mean, I couldn't tell you these two's names either, but I couldn't tell you a single personality trait any of those people had, except for maybe, I mean, eventually we get learned about her sister, maybe her sister, but like they're just not interesting at all, and the plot is like just so whatever. It does feel like a post-apocalyptic Food Wars, which is like good for me because I like Food Wars anyway. So, but yeah, this is an enjoyable manga anyway. Like I enjoyed this. I enjoyed it. Was a enjoyable read. But if I had to sell off some of my manga just to, you know, put some new ones in, this one would be pretty high on the list. I'm gonna be honest. It's like a read that you read it once and there's literally zero reason for me to go back to it. Alright, next we have a manga that I actually really enjoyed. It's a big step up in quality from Crazy Food Truck Driver, and that is Delicious in Dungeon. I read the first 2 volumes, and I enjoyed this. I actually really enjoyed this. It's honestly Crazy Food Truck Driver, but with like better written characters. Like, a lot of these characters I really enjoyed, and I just loved the laid back, like, just making food of the, like, just the plot. I just love the plot. It's just so enjoyable. And I also really like how, I mean, stuff like Crazy Food Truck Driver and Food Wars do have a bit of a problem of getting, at least like, getting the audience interested in the food itself and like the cooking part. And so a lot of times the cooking part is just, there is no cooking and it's just them talking about the dish at the end. This is more just the cooking. Like, this is a lot more just finding ingredients, cooking. And it works because we're like, it's set in like this medieval, like, monsters and dungeons type place. So there's a bunch of different animals that us, the audience, don't even know exist. So they're like, oh, jewel bugs. All you need to do is replace the jewel and grab the bug and cut the bug and saute it. And it's so much more enjoyable that way than just like line of dialogue or like a block of dialogue after a dish is, you know, tuned out. It's also just super, super fun. Like, these characters feel like they like each other, you know? Like, all 4 main characters are flawed in their, just like, in general. They're just flawed people. But they enjoy each other's company. And they have good banter with each other. Like, they have really good chemistry. So, it works really well. Alright, next, I have a manga I, like, just read a couple days ago. That's Parasite. I enjoyed this a lot, honestly. Really, what hooked me on Parasite was just like the creepiness of it. Just, first off, the horror in this manga, it has a very like simplistic, kind of old art style, I would say. Like, if you look like that, like, it does remind me of like, it kind of looks like Initial D, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if it's made by the same author, but it looks like a lot like Initial D. And then like the parasites are drawn and, you know, different characters are drawn and they're super detailed and it's like really disgusting. And it is very creepy to like have that different contrast between the art. Also, the premise is just really, really cool. I love the idea of, are humans good-natured or like, are they evilly natured, or like what happens when you bring something that is above humans in the food chain and how will humans react? Like, that is super interesting. And there are probably other manga that, you know, represent this or do this well as well that I haven't read. And there's probably other ones in my collection as well that I just haven't read. But this one, I've never really seen it done before like Parasite. Like, it is very, very good. Characters are good. I just enjoy it overall. I really do want to get into this one, and I do hear that it does get better over time. Like, it does, like there are more themes and characters and stuff to latch onto as like a reader, which I'm excited about as well. Also, I will not be buying those $20 full color editions. Why? They're $20. These are good quality. I got this for $5 at Half Price Books, and I enjoy it. They're good quality. I can open up super easy. I can read, and this is all I need. I don't need anything else. Next, we have a manga I honestly wanted to like more. I thought I was gonna like this a lot more, but I sadly didn't, and that's Frieren. I thought I was gonna like Frieren so much more. I heard so much good stuff about the first chapter and just the first volume in general. Like, that it was like a masterpiece and it made people cry and it so much emotion and all this. And I honestly just think it was like a huge like waste of potential. And that's also just me coming in with big expectations. If I never heard of this series and got it, I'd probably like it a lot more. But I got into the series, or I bought it. It was also one of your guys' recommendations, but getting into the series, I knew it was a series about like an elf that has immortality, and that she had to deal with the struggle of, you know, being alive for, you know, and seeing like all of her friends die, right? That's like what I knew, but I wish it was expanded more. Like, there's a scene where she like goes on a walk and we see like a full page of like a bunch of different things she's doing, and then she comes back and the guy like she was talking to like is an old man, and that's really interesting. But I wish it was so much more subtle. Like, it was so much more like time passes so much quicker for her. Like, I wish it was, instead of like, let me see if I can find it, but there is like a page where it just shows like what happened. I wish it was more. Let's see if I can find it. I don't know if I can though. But it's literally just a page of, it's this one. Like, it's just 2 pages of her walking around nowhere, right? But I wish it was literally like, I'm gonna go out for a walk. She goes out for a walk, looks around, is like, man, this is really beautiful. Goes back, and the guy is an old man. Like, there's no separation. Like, there's like tiny little panels of showing her like going to different places and stuff. I literally wish it was just like a blip in time for her, and the guy was like an old man being like, wait, who are you? This shop is closed. Get the fuck out of here. You know, I wish it was so much more subtle like that, where we could actually deep dive in the way that she thinks and the way that she experiences time. That's so much more interesting to this being like her just seeing her friends die, you know? Like, and it's good. Like, don't get me wrong. This is very, very good. Like, the first chapter is pretty good, and I do like the second girl that, you know, is our side character. Well, she's also kind of a main character, but like our side main character to the main character. I forgot her name, but obviously main character's name, Frieren. I hope. I'd be bad if it wasn't. But I just couldn't love this as much as I've heard every other person say that they like that. And honestly, I think I might watch the first episode of the anime. Maybe the anime is better. I don't really know though. So, yeah, Frieren. It was good. I enjoyed it. Next, we have another 3 volumes. And it's not a series that is concluded. Is Gleipnir. I know I liked Gleipnir more than Frieren. Crazy. This is just such a hype manga. Like, this manga, first off, the art, incredible. The art is really good. But just a lot of stuff about this manga is so enjoyable and hype, and it just like brings me like so much emotion. Not like sad emotion or angry emotion, but like just like things are ramping up. It's a very fast-paced manga, and it's a very interesting world that's like has a super creative power system that I know is going to be utilized really, really well. Like, I really enjoy this. But I would probably enjoy this a lot more if every other page didn't have a shot of this girl's panties. Like, bro, what are we doing here? Like, I get it. It's supposed to be taken from, like, the main character's point of view, and he's a teenager, so he's obviously going to look at that stuff like every teenage boy did, you know? But it gets to a point, it just gets excessive. And by the third volume, it kind of feels like the author doesn't even care anymore, and is just, like, doing it for formality's sake. Like, I think he doesn't even care anymore. But it is, like, really, really good. I'd recommend. And the funny thing about Gluttner is that's one of the first manga I've had in my collection, and I just read it. Like, that's been in there for a while. Next we have Dead Demons Destruction. This is a manga that is getting an anime. I literally think the anime came out today. And this was really good. This was, I think, Inio Asano has a really, like, he's really skilled in just his, like, writing characters, or like that speak so, like, I guess not relatable, but they just speak so real, I guess, if you want to put it that way. Like, his writing for these characters are just, it's just so natural and just so, like, out of nowhere. It's so campy that you would find in, like, a human conversation, and it's almost like you don't want to read it because of how cringe and campy it is. You know how, like, when you take a video of yourself, I know this because I run a YouTube channel, but you take a video of yourself, you're taking a video of, like, a vlog or whatever, you know, or you take a video with your parents or your friends or something, and then, like, 5 years later, you look back on that video and you're like, oh my god, what the hell was I doing, you know? I was so fucking stupid in that video. It's like that, but Inio Asano's, like, entire discography or whatever it's called, you know, like, his entire catalog of books, and that's, like, every single volume, like, for both of these as well. But I should probably talk about, like, the actual stuff that matters, like the plot and the characters and the art. Fantastic, some of the best I've ever seen. Like, it is so good. Characters right now, they're okay. They're good. The characters are good. They have really good chemistry with each other. I just wouldn't say I'm interested in either their personal dilemmas. One of them is, like, this one is, like, I don't even know how to explain it. She's just weird, but she's, like, a weird preschooler anyway, so who cares? Like, a weird elementary schooler. And the other one, her parents are getting divorced, and that's really it. But it's good. Like, it's good drama. It's good drama. And then the alien shit, honestly, feels like it doesn't need to be there, but I do think it will be a lot more important later. And it is interesting to see how the world would, like, see aliens from Inio Asano's perspective. It is very, you know, it does well in that category. Next, we have a volume that was not recommended to me. Naruto. Well, this technically was recommended to me, but from the last recommendation video. Not the recommendation video I put out like a month ago. One I put out like 6 months ago. Naruto was recommended, but it didn't come in the mail fast enough, so I didn't read it. But I'm slowly moving through it. I got volume 3, and this was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. I think a lot of my enjoyment comes from the fact that I enjoy One Piece so much, and these two are very similar in just style and writing and pacing. Like the paneling reminds me so much of One Piece, especially the art stuff as well. It just reminds me so much of One Piece, and I think that is because when, you know, they made manga back then, like, they didn't use tablets, they used pen and paper, so it has that, like, pen and paper feel. Like, there's not a lot of gray here, if that makes sense. Most of it is black and white. I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to be honest. It still has the same problems that I mentioned before, and it's just that the 3 main characters aren't really likable at all. Naruto's likable, but Sakura and Sasuke, just, I don't really care for right now. I know they get better. Well, I've only heard that Sasuke gets better. People say Sakura gets worse. But I know that they'll get better eventually, but they all do seem like spoiled brats becoming like bodyguards, basically. Like, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense. I wish these characters were written at least to be a little bit more mature. Like, even when we get into our fight, Naruto is still goofing off, Sasuke is still being edgy. Sakura is probably my favorite. I'm gonna be honest. Sakura is probably my favorite, and I get that's like the point. Like, Naruto, he goofs off, but he's still like so alone and just so like isolated, and he just doesn't know how to talk to people. I get that. Still annoys me though. It's like Zenitsu, you know. Like, I get why Zenitsu is like the way he is. It's still fucking annoying. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say it's not annoying. It is, but you know, we take what we can get. All right. I don't know what that was supposed to lead to. Next, we have a manga that I didn't know was. I really enjoyed this. I thought I wasn't gonna like this very much, but I pleasantly enjoyed this, and that was Bakuman. I almost said Barakamon. That's a different manga. That's over there. Bakuman is very good. I enjoyed this a lot. Didn't have many problems. There's one big problem I'll get into, but this was just really, really good. I've mentioned this before, but I don't really like manga that talk about how, like, a job that people think is easy is actually difficult. Like, no shit. Every job is difficult at, like, some extent, especially because it's Japan. Like, Japan, especially in the, like, animation community or the animation industry, everyone knows it's hard to work in Japan. Actually, every job, it's hard to work in Japan. Like, that's like a kind of a no-brainer. Like, they literally have terms for that shit in Japan. And I just, like, thought, like, oh, a manga about creating manga. How far can you really take this? But no, the characters are charming. The art is great. I'm loving the plot so far. The writing is really, really stellar, I would say. Like, the writing is just super quippy. Like, I'm just enjoying my time with these characters, I'd say. And just, like, the scenes when they are making manga is really, really good. Like, I really, really like it. But, like I said, there is a problem. And I think most people know this, if they've read Bakuman. And it's like most of the female characters, probably not even most, all the female characters aren't written really well. They're written how, like, a high school boy would think women think. And it's not like I know, you know, what women think either. But a lot, like, there's literally, like, I think, like, 2 chapters of dialogue about how this guy is talking about, like, I don't even know. I don't even understand it. And, like, it is interesting. There's, like, a point, I mean, this is what I was talking about, where he's like, oh, this girl is smart because she, you know, not because she gets good grades, but because she acknowledges how people think around her and how they think about her around her. I'm like, that's interesting. That is an interesting idea to say that people, you know, the smarter people are the people who understand how they're viewed among everyone else, and it's not the people who get the best grades. That's a great, you know, point to make, or that's a great thing to explore. And then he's like, yeah, that's why she's a good woman to marry. And she needs it. Like, come on, man, you were like this close, bro. You were this close. Okay. No, doesn't really matter anyway. That's such a small part of at least the first volume that it really doesn't matter, even though that she is, like, the main motivation for our 2 characters, like our 2 main characters, but it really doesn't matter. Also, this guy and then the other main character are just so enjoyable to, like, just hear them talk. Like, they literally just have such good chemistry with each other. It's very fun. But yeah, that's why this one is so hot. I really enjoyed this. I really like this. Also, there's a lot of dialogue, so if you don't like that, don't read. Next, I have a manga that, first buying it and first getting recommended to it, I was like 9,000,000% sure it would not be this high. And I think the reason this one is so high is because I can't really find any flaws with it. There's some stuff that I would like to be changed, but there's not like a flaw I get. Like, there's some stuff that I thought could be better, but there's not really a flaw to it. I mean, there's like one tiny little nitpick that I personally have, but it's not really a flaw for the manga. And this one is just such a oddball that I liked so much, but it's Sakura Saku. I read the first 2 volumes, and it's really good. Like, it is really good. The characters are really enjoyable. The plot is okay. I can't explain it. I really can't. I just really enjoyed this manga. I probably to the fullest extent out of most of the manga on this list, and it's fourth. It's the fourth best thing I read this entire month. Maybe it is because I read it at night. I just really like the characters. They're enjoyable. The way they talk to each other is enjoyable. They're all nice and likable. There's no mean-spirited guy. Well, there's one, but he gets dealt with in like 2 chapters. Like, it is literally the quintessential slice of life series. It is such a vibe. It is such an aesthetic. Like, I have no complaints. Well, I do have a complaint. My complaint is, it is unapologetically a shoujo manga. That's not a complaint. That is just me saying this manga was not made for me. Like, you know how people will say like, oh, shonen has bad written women, which I don't agree with, but shonen has bad written women. Kind of flip that for shoujo, at least of what I've read of this volume. A lot of the guys are kind of just portrayed as like these perfect people who like do no wrong and are always nice and super attractive, which, you know, 1 is not true, but 2, like, that's fine. I mean, I'm a shonen guy, I'm a seinen guy. A lot of women are portrayed that way. I can't really complain, but again, it is like, I mean, it happens the same thing in shonen too. Like, I notice it too in shonen when it happens to women as well. It's just bad character writing, at least. But it is like still super, super enjoyable, I would say. I think eventually I'll make I'll make a video about why I don't think women are written badly in shonen. Stay tuned for that, because I have opinions on that. Not bad opinions. Well, it depends what you think is a bad opinion. We'll see what happens. Okay. Next, we have a manga that is really good. Obviously, it is Chojin X. Chojin X is fantastic. I don't know why people said this manga was bad. I heard when I bought the first volume, people were saying like, "Oh, this manga isn't good. It sucks." Made by the same creator of Tokyo Ghoul, but he obviously doesn't know what he's doing. I read the first 2 volumes. I enjoyed the shit out of both of these, and I think they're on like volume 7 right now. Like, I cannot wait to pick this up. I think my only complaint is this girl right here. I don't get her deal. I don't really like her very much. She's cool. Like, I like her, but not as much as our main character here. Main character is what is the selling point. The art, fantastic. Action, fantastic. Characters, great. At least of what I've seen, really, really good. And I can definitely tell in the future we're gonna get so many more creative enemies to face. Like, it's gonna be so fun. Like, in the second volume, we fight a baseball monster. Like, who fucking thinks of this shit? And at the end of the second volume, we get introduced to like this villain who literally just looks like the most terrifying thing I have ever seen in my entire life. I'm gonna try to find it. Hold on. Where is it? It is so fucking creepy, bro. It is the scariest thing I have ever seen. This thing, bro. I don't know what about it, but the monsters like this guy creates just make me feel uncomfortable. Like, look at this thing, bro. Look at that thing. What is that, bro? I just don't, like, it's just so good. I just really like Chojin X. It is so good. And I will definitely be reading it more. Next, we have 2 volumes left. Number 2. Surprised it's not number 1, but it is, like, great. It is amazing. Great manga. I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. Just, like, so good. Like, just such a, like, really just well-told, linear, connected story of these two characters falling in love and learning the value of life. It's just really good because of that. And I do like that the act of death eventually at the end is the one that creates the friendships between like the two characters. I don't really know how to explain this manga very well and how to articulate my thoughts on it. But it is very, very good. My only issue, and there's like some other issues, like I don't really gel with the art style. Paneling is a bit boring, you know. I can do all that, and it does get very like there is literally a scene where the two play truth or dare, and they're like about to kiss. Like, I'm not in middle school anymore. I don't need to see this shit, you know. Like, I get it, okay. But at the end, there is an emotional payoff that works really well. Where we finally get the main character's main name, like first name. I know, right? But it kind of gets undermined because it doesn't end there. Like, the ending is good, but there's a huge like thing that happens, and then it keeps going, and then it keeps going, and I'm like, book, I get it. It's like, I get the themes. You don't have to explain it to me. I understand. Kind of reminded me of Your Lie in April, but the ending of Your Lie in April was done, in my opinion, a lot better. Like so much better, I think. But yeah, that's I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. It's good. It's, you know, what can I say? Like, there's nothing really that I have a problem with that one. And finally, at number 1, you probably know what this is. Usually every 2 months, this is the number 1 or number 2 or number 3 on the list. Which, you know, it makes sense. Top 10 manga in my collection. It's Blue Lock Volume 12. This volume just does so much for the series, in my opinion. It introduces like a lot of characters that I know are going to be super important later and are going to be really, really fun. Like Otoya, Karasu, Shido, and then Nanase and Hiyori. Like, it introduces a lot of characters that are really, really interesting that I want to get to know more. I think Blue Lock does that really well with just introducing a fantastic character design and like a really good like just character personality that you just want to get to know more. Like, it like just does that really, really well. Especially this guy on the cover, Shido. Ooh, I love that guy. Also, the art, always fantastic. Writing, literally built for me. There's just so much of this like that I just love to the bottom of my heart. And I understand that people like people will be like, oh, Jujutsu Kaisen, like their Blue Lock is like people's Jujutsu Kaisen or their Sakamoto Days. Also, that anime trailer was fire for Sakamoto Days. Or like their Sakamoto Days or their, you know, whatever. It's my Blue Lock, you know? It's just a series that is just full of action that for some reason is just the literal hypest shit to you for like you can't even explain why. And that's Blue Lock for me. I mean, I can try to articulate it, but that is Blue Lock for me. And I think it does help that I watched soccer myself. I'm a soccer fan. So it does help a lot that, or a football fan, it does help a lot that Blue Lock is about soccer, and, you know, someone who reads Blue Lock who isn't a soccer fan will probably be like, oh, what's happening in this art right here? What move is that? I don't understand that at all. And I'm like, oh, that's a heel flick. That's a cut. That's a, you know, like, or that's a, you know, whatever. That's a Zidane turn. Like, what do you want me to say? Okay. But this manga just does, like, it just checks, like, every single box for me. For me. You might not like it. I don't know. Okay. That is the end of the manga. It's been 30 minutes. See you later. I'm going to go watch the Haikyuu movie. I'm very excited. I heard it's bad. Please don't be... literally, all I need is my favorite moments in the manga animated well, and I'm happy. That's all I need. That's really all I need. Okay, bye.